This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Tip off the Wolves home opener this Sunday with Meat Sauce Lucky. Join Sauce at Kieran's Irish Pub from 3 to 5 p.m. for a Sunday Bucket Slam. Enjoy specials on Kona and Michelob Ultra buckets and register for your chance to win signed Timberwolves prizes. Full details now, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's Brett Blakemore. I failed to mention, Teneby will also participate in Spread Swing today. He's off today, at least from his regularly scheduled weekday duties. They finally have come to their senses here. I heard Minneapolis and said, well, why should the master control supervisor, as important a job as that is, I mean, he is at the helm of the flagship station of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. It's the largest NFL radio network in the country. More stations are members of the network for the Vikings than any other team in the country. And they want him to be at his best. He needs to be sharp. He needs to be tough. He needs to be with it. And I just think of that song by, what's her name, Desiree, that we play oftentimes. So he will be in that chair that Brett Blakemore's in for master control supervising for tonight's Viking game, but he will call in along with Deuce. Rosen will be here. Spread Swing coming your way at 1:30. One quick text message says, this has been a lot of sports talk. I'm excited to hear what you're having for lunch. That's coming up next, but right now it's 5:34.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
I'm having chicken.
Question number 1.
Asparagus chips along with onions mixed together. And then I'm going to have some iceberg lettuce salad with some poppy seed dressing and some cucumbers and peppers on it. And then I'll be having some strawberries and blackberries for dessert.
Wow.
So that's lunch for Common Man today.
Quite the meal.
Question number 1.
Go Vikings, let's win this game. You'll hear us yell for more.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the state of the Skull.
Yeah, and we have to hit this as well. Fresh off, I had to change the entire thing.
Breaking news regarding the Vikings?
Yes, controversial. Rap Sheet says Aaron Jones, who has been on injured reserve for the hamstring injury, is expected to be activated and play tonight for your Minnesota Vikings. That's via Kirk Herbstreit, via Pat McAfee, via everything else. How much of an impact will Aaron Jones returning to the Vikings have if he plays tonight?
Well, I don't know. Again, there's a little bit of a gridiron rust, but it's not that complicated. They call out the signals, they turn around, they give you the ball, you go to the hole and hopefully avoid some tackles and gain some yards. So I think it helps having him in. I mean, he was pretty good for the team last year. He's a good running back. The kid from San Francisco has been all right. He's all right. But I think he needed a 1-2 punch, and so I think it will certainly be beneficial. How beneficial remains to be seen. But, yeah, it's good news. Anytime you can get a starting player who's been out with an injury back, it generally bodes well for the team. But you still the offensive line still needs to open up some holes, too. And what helps the running game is if you can play action a little bit because your quarterback's playing better than he did the week before. So there are a lot of things that go into it. But, yeah, it's good to have him back, I think.
Question number 2.
Time now for an in-depth look at the state of hockey.
Yeah, not the greatest news in the state of hockey. They have lost 4 out of their last 5 on this road trip. They lost to the Stars, Capitals, Flyers. They beat the Rangers, and then yesterday losing to the Devils 4-1. My question regarding the Wild is simply this. Are you
concerned or confident? confident.
Oh, I would say concerned. It's a complete reversal of last year. Last year, the Wild started the season like a house on fire, and they were maybe the best team in hockey. And this year, it's and you follow the team more than I do. You can follow up a slow start and win 80 your next 9, and suddenly everything's different. It's early enough in the season, but it certainly doesn't bode well for the club. I would ask you, because you're more of a Wild fan than I am, are you concerned or are you confident?
I would say I'm mostly. It's tough because, like, if we did the other one I was debating doing, which is one of my favorites, Trend or Mirage.
And what's the other one? There's the other one that's
those
Panic or
Patience.
Patience, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Trend or Mirage?
Can you find Panic or Patience, too?
Yeah.
See if you can find. Yeah, here you go.
Panic or Patience?
Where are you on the Panic, Patience, blah, 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 blah?
Well, I'll tell you, it seems more like a Trend than a Mirage because, I mean, if you look at the road trip, it's not good. And the effort, too, has not been good. It seems like slow starts is more of a Trend than a Mirage. It seems like trying at the last second to get back into a game is more of a Trend than a Mirage. Long term, it's such a long season that you don't want to be concerned because it's like I shouldn't look at the standings at all right now. I shouldn't be looking at them until Christmas time probably before I start getting. But then you look at the last 5 games and go, to me, that's more of a trend. So I'm hoping they turn it around. And yes, Zuccarello and Nico Sturm, blah, blah, blah. Marco Rossi just came back from an injury. So hopefully if they get healthy, they get more scoring depth and can start it. But starting a game hot is not injury related. And we were talking about that with the Wolves earlier.
Well, I know that we finally were freed from the Suter Parisi contracts, right?
Yes.
And then that's where we were going to have maybe not a boatload of money, but certainly a sin bin full of money to spend on free agents. The only problem was what I'm told, and I'll take your word for it, and Tenebes and all the other people that follow the NHL more closely than I do, that any really highly regarded free agents basically we signed with their own teams. So there weren't really any high-profile players, game-changing impact players available for the Wolves to sign. So what you're hoping is to be a quality team until we get to trade deadline. Then there will be teams that have those impact players that the team's not making an impact in the standings, and those teams might be willing to trade those players, and we might be able to accumulate a player or two that can help the team not only make the playoffs, but maybe get out of the first round for the first time in a long time. Is that sort of what we were hoping to see here going into this season?
I mean, we were promised the moon and the stars, and I understand why we didn't get the moon and the stars because of just the availability and the asking price of trades, yada, yada. But you would hope that you would have the freedom to do something in the deadline like you're talking about, and you would hope that the extension of Kirill would maybe attract Panarin or somebody, a big player.
But the fly in the ointment is if you're so woefully out of contention by trade deadline time, there's no real reason to go out and get it unless you are trying to get those players to re-sign them for next year, which there's nothing wrong with that. But for this year, you want to at least be a team that, well, hey, we're in the thick of this thing, and now we can add a couple of impact players, and now we're really in the thick of it. But if they continue to play like they are now, that's going to be wishful thinking.
Question number 3. It's time now for Common to fill in the blank.
Ooh, I haven't done this one in a long time.
I enjoy looking for the most random little questions that I can find and somehow shoehorning them in. So that was one I found that I like. So the A topic of the day is the sports gambling probe that's going on with the NBA. Chauncey Billups, who just coached against the Timberwolves last night,
I
arrested.
love how you asked me if I'd heard it. Yes, because I don't pay very close attention. And I had heard. I didn't realize how deep it was when I just knew that Chauncey Billups and Rozier had some type of gambling accusations against him. But yeah, this sounds like it's
Well, there's been times where I've put the work in to write it out for 534, and you'll say, yeah, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
And then I'll just have to move on to something else. But this is a big deal. So, and there's more arrests coming. I think there's 30 plus people indicted, is what I read.
Yeah.
So my question for you to fill in the blank, the arrests in the NBA and sports betting makes me feel blank.
Not really, but sort of, kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
We've had gambling scandals in pro sports before. Go all the way back to, was it 1919 Black Sox? They threw games in the World Series.
Shoeless Joe.
Shoeless Joe Jackson, Say It Isn't So Joe. Pete Rose. There have been, I suppose if right now you Googled gambling accusations or NBA referee, what was his name? Donahue?
I know what you're talking about, yeah. Regardless.
Yeah, so it's not that it hasn't happened before. And you'd like to think that it doesn't, that every game you watch, and the whole poker thing's a whole nother thing. The lead paragraph from the Associated Press sports story says, head coach of the Portland Trailblazers and a player for the Miami Heat were arrested Thursday, along with more than 30 other people in 2 criminal cases alleging sprawling separate schemes to rake in millions by rigging sports bets and poker games involving mafia families, according to authorities. Now, again, it's, these are accusations, allegations. These are charges that are going to be filed, I guess. So, again, everybody has their day in court. I don't know if there's anything to it, but let's say there is. It wouldn't surprise me, even though you'd like to think that this doesn't happen in this day and age, that everything is played on the up and up. Part of the thing, I think, as a sports fan, if you are, especially if you're buying a ticket, but even take that away, that when you sit down to watch a game, whether it's in person, you bought a ticket, or in Rosen's case, gotten free courtside tickets, or you're just watching a game, you like to think that the outcome not only is not predetermined, but that everybody is giving it their all to win the game. If a guy, we talked about the Wolves kind of like, it's not just the Wolves, other players coast during games, right? That's one thing. But when you're doing it to affect the outcome of the game, to make money for yourself and others, it just, that's the one thing with sports. It's supposed to be kind of sacred, that this is and so it does leave a bad taste in your mouth. And you wonder, how deep does this run? How accurate are the accusations? What was, says Billups is charged with participating in conspiracy to fix high-stakes card games in Vegas, Miami, and Manhattan and the Hamptons that were backed by La Cosa Nostra crime families. Heat guard Terry Rozier was accused of a second scheme to concoct fraudulent bets by exploiting confidential information about NBA athletes and teams. Also arrested was former NBA assistant coach and player Damon Jones, who's charged with participating in both schemes. The indictments unsealed in New York create a massive cloud for the NBA, which opened its season this week, and show how certain types of wagers are vulnerable to massive fraud in the growing multi-billion-dollar legal sports betting industry. Both men face money laundering and wire fraud conspiracy charges and were expected to make initial court appearances later today. I need to hear more how deep the accusations run. It sounds as though, at least in what I've just read, that Billups was more involved in this poker game stuff, but was he involved in the NBA games? And like last night, they played the Wolves. Did he make substitutions in games that would throw the game? Did he shave? I don't know. And it does. That's why I'll tell you one thing is I'm not against legalized sports betting in any way, shape, or form. If you want to, if you want to take your hard-earned money and bet on games, knock yourself. I've actually done it in Vegas. I don't do it often, but I was there. I've recanted the tale before. went to the sports book and bet 4 different $50 bets, and I cashed in on one. But you'd like to think that if you're placing a bet on a game, that if you lose the bet, you lost it because you just lost the bet. It wasn't because someone tried to rig it. And so it's serious stuff, and we'll find out more. I'm sure as not just today, I don't know how much more we'll learn today, but over the next days and weeks and months, we'll see what happens. But yeah, it would be a sad day in sports and the poker game stuff. I don't even know how you would rig those games. I'm sure. And then I don't know, with the mafia involved and how they know. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We got another quick segment, and then we'll do. Speaking of gambling, we don't put any wagers on it, but we're going to participate in Spread Swing, where we take a look at what the sports book has put for odds in the game, and we'll pick winners. And we'll do that at 1:30 with Rose and Tennessee, myself, and my firstborn Deuce. That's all coming up here on the Common Man program on the Fan.
The Fan and 2 Men and a Junk Trunk want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks to the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword is win. The keyword win, KFAN.com. Keyword win. Join the Fan's Justin Guard at Gray's Food Hall for a special Thursday night Purple Watch Party tonight. Party kicks off at 7 p.m. with Minnesota taking on LA. Plus great food, drinks, and your shot to win awesome prizes every quarter. Get all the details now. KFAN.com, keyword calendar. There's
another gambling racket that's not getting as much attention. And that was the one that I used to run back in, I think it was 5th grade. I got called into the office because I was running I got called down to the office and I had to explain it to the principal. Here's what I did. Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament, right? It's sacred to all of us, right? It's the greatest tournament in the history of tournaments. Of course, that's what we think here in Minnesota. Whether it is or not, I don't know. And that was 1968 or 9. And I put together a betting pool for the state high school hockey tournament.
Oh my gosh.
It was back when they just had one class. Okay. And what I did is I offered up to everybody, people in class. I said, let's all throw in $1 and we'll draw names out of a hat. It's not as though, we didn't do a draft and, you got to pick a team and you just selected a team. You could, maybe you'd get Greenway of Coleraine, or maybe you would get Edina East or Edina West, because I think Edina had two high schools back then. And I got 7 other guys to do it.
I always
and then,
love that one.
of course, when you're 5th grade, those things, I'm not trying to hide it from anybody. It was just, I thought it was rather harmless. But it was considered a gambling ring, and I got called down to the principal's office. Now, Kash Patel wasn't involved. They didn't call the FBI, the CIA, the BBC, B.B. King, Doris Day, or Max Busby, dig it. But I was told to cease and desist from my little gambling. I was a bookie back in 5th grade.
You were ahead of your time.
I was ahead of my time.
Yeah.
I can't remember what team I selected. I think I may have gotten...
Now, if you rigged the selection,
well, that's it. And I did. Yes,
maybe Kash Patel would have been involved.
And I did not. I did not rig the selection. But yeah, I was running a gambling ring back in 5th grade. If you want to call it a gambling ring, but I don't really think it is. I mean, I guess back in 1968, 69, they took that stuff more seriously. I also got called down to the office because I had a book about the Beatles that was written by I can't remember his name. He was one of the guys that was on the inside with the Beatles, right? I'll think of his name in a second. And the title of the book was something like Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll or something like that. And the word sex was in there. And I'm in 5th grade, same thing, 5th grade. So I guess I understand that. Why did my dad let me have a book like that anyway? Anyhow, they called me down to the office and confiscated the book. I was a troublemaker, man. I don't think I'm on the level of Chauncey Billups. Several people, I did talk to JG. He takes his job more seriously than I do. He watched the entire news conference today. And several people have weighed in to say, because I asked, well, I'm interested to see how they were rigging those poker games. And it says rigged shuffling, marked cards, special contact lenses, the card part of it. It says another text messenger says they used X-ray machines and hidden cameras. They knew what and apparently what JG said was the involvement from Billups was, hey, do you want to play cards with a celebrity? So you would play poker with Chauncey Billups, and then the games were rigged. And so these wealthy people with big money were brought in and scammed out of their loot. Sort of, I guess, that alleged. I don't know. I don't know how it went down. But that's what apparently they said in the news conference today. And, when Robert Redford, the actor, died, 2-3 weeks ago, I've asked him, he's never watched me. Have you ever seen the movie The Sting?
I have not.
The Sting, it's 1973, so it's a bit dated. But Deuce and I started watching it, but then something came up and we had to bow out of it. But we watched the first 20 minutes of it. And I've not seen it since back in, I've seen it once or twice since it originally came out in 1973, but it's been, I bet, 20 years since I watched it. But it's called The Sting, and it's about gambling and about running scams against people, horse racing and poker. And if you like gambling, if you like, this was 1930s, it's set in the 1930s. If you like those kinds of movies, it's fascinating, and it's the same thing. There is a great scene in it. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, after Redford died, where Paul Newman, Robert Redford, they appeared in 2 movies together, The Sting and then Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And Newman pretends he's drunk and he's in a train with cheater guy. The guy's name is Lonigan. And the game goes on and on. It's a great scene. And then it comes up where Lonigan, all the money's in now. And Lonigan lays down his cards. He goes 4 9s. And then Newman kind of looks, and he's pretending he's drunk. He just splashed booze on him, right? He's pretending he's really drunk. And all of a sudden, he lays his cards down, and it's 4 jacks. And Lonigan's stunned because they've set this up. This never fails. This is what they do for a living. And the best part is one of Lonigan's henchmen is behind Newman, and he's behind him. He can't believe it. He has no idea how he came up with those cards. Then the best part is Lonigan, he goes to reach into his coat for his wallet, and he doesn't have it. And so then Newman goes, oh, so now you don't have the money to pay it off either, because they'd stolen his wallet too. It's just brilliant. So it's a little different than what we're talking about here. And it's not, it's just a movie, so it wasn't as serious. But yeah, so the plot thickens with the indictments today, and 30 people involved, they think. And so we'll take a deeper dive into a little bit. We'll see what Rosen has to think about. But on the other side of the break, Rosen joins us, as does Deuce and Teneby. Spread swing. Other side of the break here on the Common Man program on the Fan.
Mark your calendars. Boston punk legends Dropkick Murphys.
Dropkick Murphys
Are set.
I want to know what love is.
Set to hit the Palace Theater March 6th.
I'm hot-blooded. Check it and see.
Don't miss out. Tickets on sale now. Full details, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's Brett Blakemore in for Teneby, and we're suddenly very busy. There was just the two of us. Old Grover Washington Jr. song, but we're now joined in studio by the legendary Mark Rosen of Channel 4 Sports. Sports is your whole life just sports fame. I only see one person ready to come on the air on the phone. Who is that? Teneby or
that is Deuce.
Deuce, and is Teneby on Opal?
He is.
Well, we're all here. The gang's all here. Teneby, how are you? How are you enjoying your half day off?
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
How are you enjoying your half day off?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying a half day, because that's what it is. I still do have to work today.
Yep.
getting some stuff done around the house I normally don't get to do. So we're getting the backyard rink is getting set up today.
Oh,
so it's a good day.
Lucky.
Good for you. And Deuce, let me guess, you're crunching numbers.
Correct. I've been punching numbers into Excel spreadsheets for the past, 3, 5, 4 or so hours, and taking a little break here to hopefully put another big week on the board.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty good for you. Matter of fact, are we ready to play? Let's go ahead and start.
Spread Swing.
Spread Swing 10 to B. Do you have the numbers for us?
Yeah, going into last week, Common, you were in the lead with 46.5 points. Rosen in second with 24 points. I was in third at 6.5. And Deuce was in last at minus 44.5.
34.5
but
minus. Wow.
Guess who had the best week of all of us last week?
Deuce.
He's back.
Wow.
Deuce
Now
Cole gets a combined 30 points last week.
Wow.
He had Chicago minus 4.5. They beat the Saints by 12, so he gained 7.5 there. Common, that was you and I both got sniped on that one. We both wanted Chicago.
Correct.
And that got 7.5 points from Deuce. But the best one of the day was he had the Cleveland Browns minus 2.5 against Miami. They won by 25, 31-6.
Yeah, they're awful.
So he gained 22.5. So all of a sudden, Deuce goes from minus 44.5 to minus 14.5.
Here we go.
Has Deuce ever been in the black, or has it always been the red every year? I mean, serious.
I think he won the postseason version once.
That's
but other
right.
than that,
Sure, I think he did. Yeah.
Regular season, I think
I will
I've
say,
always been in the red, but that's about to change.
Okay.
Well, and I will say, objects in Tennessee's mirror are closer than they appear because all of a sudden Deuce is just 10.5 back of me because I had 2 losses last week.
Ooh.
I had Minnesota plus 1.5 against Philly, and they lost by 6. So I lost 4.5 there. It could have been a lot worse for me, though, because I had Denver minus 7 against the New York Giants. And at one point, what were they down? Like 25, 30 points?
Yes.
And then they come back for that 1-point victory. I lost 6 points, but it could have been much worse. So on the week, I lose 10.5. All of a sudden, I'm no longer in the black. I'm at minus 4. Small loss for Rosen last week. He did have New England minus 7 against the Tennessee Titans, and they won by 18. So he gained 11 there. But he didn't believe in those Indianapolis Colts. He had the Chargers minus 1.5. They lost to Indianapolis by 14 points. So that was a minus 15.5. Rosen now drops to 19.5. He's still in second place, though. And all the common man Dan Cole does is win because the Detroit Lions keep winning. He had the Lions minus 5.5 against Tampa Bay. They won by 15, 24-9. He gained 9.5 points. He also had Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks minus 3 against Houston on Monday night. They won by 8, so he gained 5 there.
I put a lot of thought into that Seattle game, by the way.
Yeah, you're on the golf course.
61.
What is he, 51?
I put a lot of thought into that Seattle game, too, if you remember. Tennessee said, why don't you take Seattle? I said, okay.
Who are they playing?
Well, first he tried to take Chicago.
Yeah.
Deuce had picked him. Then he tried to take Minnesota.
Correct.
I had picked him. Then he took Seattle.
Yes, correct.
So Common, you're in first place with 61. Rosen, way back now in second place at 19.5. I'm in third at minus 4. And Deuce all of a sudden is in the mix at minus 14.5. So the order today, Deuce, me, Rosen, Common.
No Lions this week.
Yeah, Common's going to
Spread Swing.
So I don't know what Blakemore's doing in the booth, but that time I could hear the Spread Swing song. So I'm already thinking that maybe Blakemore, you're going to take over Tennessee's title as the interim producer of the Common Man program from noon to 3. I can hear the song there, and I can hear the Denver Broncos making a postseason run, and I like them this week. I understand that a lot of times guys want to say there's going to be like that emotional hangover after a big win. When you have a comeback that was probably the biggest comeback in the NFL since the Vikings came back against the Colts about 4 years ago. You can say there's emotional hangover, but I think the Broncos are just a really quality football team. Anytime you can score 33 in one quarter to overcome that kind of a deficit, I don't care. I don't care about anything else related to that football team. That's just quality football. And they're at home this weekend. Denver's got to make the time zone change, and they got to climb 5,280 feet into the mile-high city of Denver. Altitude, body clock, yada, yada, yada. The Cowboys are also just a pretty mediocre club. Their win against Washington doesn't really impress me last week since, Mariota had to come in and fill in for Jaden Daniels. I'm not sold on the Cowboys, but I am sold on Denver, so I'll take the Broncos -3.
Spread swing.
Well, there's a lot of big spreads this week, a lot of 7-point spreads, a couple double-digit spreads, which makes spread swing a little more challenging. I am going to take a road favorite, though. I'm going to go Tampa Bay -3.5 at New Orleans. Tampa Bay did not look very good on Monday night in Detroit, but I still think Tampa Bay is one of the best teams in the NFC. They're playing one of the worst teams in the NFL, and if I can get them at 3.5 points, I'm going to take advantage of that. So I'm going to go Tampa Bay -3.5 at New Orleans.
Spread swing.
All right, I sniped you there. I'm going to go with on a home team against another absolute disaster of a franchise. Atlanta's good enough.
The Chargers tonight?
Yeah. Atlanta is good enough to take care of business. It's a little bit more than I'd like to give it, 7.5, but I don't know how Miami, I don't know, their head coach has still got a job. I don't know how anyone, everybody's mad at each other, and it's just a disastrous year for them and the Jets.
I'd call it a hot mess.
It's a hot mess. Miami's lost their last 4 road games by at least 15 points. I don't see it getting any better this week. Going to Atlanta, and the Falcons will run the ball down their throats with Bijan, and I'll be happy to give the 7.5. I look at that as easily a double-digit win, hopefully a lot more than that. Atlanta -7.5.
Spread swing.
It's just for good luck.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I usually not a big believer in, the revenge motive. But in the case of Aaron Rodgers, I really believe it. And I think he beat the Jets already, so he's got one feather in his cap. He wanted to beat the New York Jets, and you saw the news conference afterward. He said, well, kind of nice to beat them. It's, kind of show the organization. Didn't think I had any football left, so it's kind of like nice to show him that I did. Obviously, Green Bay is even, I would think he's more bitter. Green Bay, he played his entire career there until he left, and he did not want to leave. I do not believe he didn't like him drafting Jordan Love, blah, blah, blah. He wants to beat Green Bay in the worst way, and my guess is he's let it be known in that locker room that he'd like to beat Green Bay. I think that his teammates are going to rally around him. I think they're going to, and I didn't guarantee anything, but I still believe that that's enough in this case that I do believe in the revenge factor, and I think Pittsburgh is going to beat Green Bay. And so, I'll take Pittsburgh. I think, to me, this was the easiest of what's that?
You get them +3, too. You get 3 points at home.
Yeah, I get 3 points. I think this was the easiest game to pick, I think, of all of them this week. I'm glad it was available. I'll take Pittsburgh, and I'll take the 3 points in beating Green Bay.
Spread swing.
Well, old timer, I'm not sure how this will make you feel, but you sniped me. Pittsburgh was my number 2 choice, so I guess if I revert to my ways of week 1 through 5 or 6, you might be in for a rude awakening, but you've got a pretty safe lead. And looking at the rest of the games, none of these Sunday games really interest me, or the Monday night games. So I'm not going to wait till the weekend. I'm going to look at this Chargers-Vikings game tonight. And I suppose, again, if I revert to my ways of the earlier spread swing season. Vikings fans might be delighted to hear me say this, but I think the Chargers are going to win this game in a relatively easy fashion. I'm not a believer in the purple. I got to admit, I doubt this club. I hope they can prove me wrong, because it would be fun to see the Vikings kind of recover from their very average start to the 2025 campaign. But I still think the Chargers are a great football team, even though they've played some pretty poor football lately. I think they've lost 3 of their last 4, but they're at home tonight playing in prime time, and I just think this is a very, very winnable game for the Los Angeles Chargers. I think Justin Herbert's going to have a big day. I will take the Los Angeles Chargers -3 and Pete Murphy.
Wow.
Spread swing.
Brett Blakemore stopped me from doing that. He potted me down. I wanted to give Deuce a little.
I think the most intriguing. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
All right. The most interesting point spread to me is Baltimore. Despite being 1-5, they are -6.5 at home against the Chicago Bears, which signifies one thing. Las Vegas knows that Lamar Jackson is returning this week. He has practiced in limited fashion the last 2 days, but the fact that they've got him at -6.5, that means Lamar Jackson's going.
Yeah.
It's desperation game for Baltimore. The ping pong tables, the cornhole boards, the Fortnite is out of the locker room. They know this is must-win territory. They're going to be a much different team with Lamar Jackson, a much more confident team with Lamar Jackson. And while Chicago has had a quality season, I do think they've beaten up on some bad teams. They are going to face a test in Baltimore at home, because they are going to give everything they have. This is their last hurrah of the season. So I think Baltimore is going to rout the Chicago Bears and beat them by 27 points. So I'm going to take Baltimore -6.5 against the Chicago Bears.
Spread swing.
Well, I'm going to go with another AFC team that's pretty familiar with Baltimore, and they're coming off a bye, and they're seething a little bit, to say the least, and they have not played up to their potential. But one of the preseason Super Bowl picks to get there, coming out of the AFC, of course, are the Buffalo Bills. They're playing at Carolina. Carolina's won some games, but they haven't really played anyone, using that cliche. I just think that they're going to come out smoking, and they've been waiting for a long time for this game, because they had the bye. 7's a lot, but I'll be happy to give it 7-point favorites at Carolina, and Josh Allen and company, I think, will put up 30 on them easily. So I'm going to go with the Bills over Carolina -7.
Spread swing.
Don't believe in the Red Rifle? Red Rifle's going for Carolina. They're going to be better with him.
It's a lot of points. Kansas City favored by 12.5 over Washington. But there's nothing in the other games. They seem to be trap games to me. I like Kansas City because I think now that they've got, what's his name, Rice back.
Yeah.
He's back. Kansas City now seems to be playing like the Kansas City of old, and I think I think they want to show the rest of the league that we're still the team to beat in the National Football League, and I think they're going to run roughshod over Washington. I know it's a lot of points to give. That's a 2-touchdown spread.
Daniel's still out,
but I'm going to give. It doesn't matter whether it doesn't matter.
Mariota.
It doesn't matter either way.
Yep.
Kansas City is going to manhandle Washington, and I know I'm giving a lot of points, but I think Kansas City is going to win probably by 20 plus. So I'll take the Chiefs at Burrowhead and give up 12.5 points.
How do I have 70 fewer points than you? That's a foolish pick. Washington's going to keep it close.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, good luck.
Maybe it's the fact that you're like 3 for 12 this year.
Yeah. Maybe it's because you're 3 for 12. That's probably your problem.
How are you commenting on other people's picks? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, and
funny.
boy, that was you had quite the night over at Huntington Bank Stadium with all your friends from Nebraska that came into the game. What happened, Deuce?
You know what? Well, we came out flat, and the second quarter rolled around. We played poor there, and we couldn't we couldn't really Dylan Raiola couldn't complete passes, but we made up for it by not stopping the run. So that was an embarrassment of ages. That was awful. I mean, there's the first 3 games that I watched Nebraska play Minnesota in during my time as a student. They were all at least ball games, especially my senior year. It was a signature Nebraska choke, but that was terrible. Myself, my girlfriend, and her friend, we were all getting nothing malicious, but just getting heckled walking back to our cars after the game because that was just it was atrocious. It was awful.
Yeah, it seemed like, I don't know, but sometimes you use chairs when you're practicing zones and stuff. I think Nebraska was chairs.
I think they were.
Nebraska was broken chairs because I just learned this. They play for the Bits of Broken Chair trophy. I don't know if any of you knew that, but the game is actually, they play it and there's a trophy awarded to the winning team. And Minnesota's been holding on to that since I think like 2018 or something. So Nebraska not only looked like chairs, we looked like broken chairs.
Yeah.
It was miserable. We couldn't stop Darius Taylor. Yeah, I think that's the Gophers running back named Darius Taylor.
Yes,
he had a big night. And Emmett Johnson was our entire offense.
Are you still worried about Matt Rule leaving, or are you basically telling him not to let the door hit him on the way out?
I'm almost what if Penn State looks at him and just goes, you know what, Nebraska, you keep him. That performance.
Thanks for no thanks.
And I think we're doomed to lose Matt Rule, if not at the end of this season, maybe the end of next. I mean, you got to look at the patterns. I mean, he went to Temple, fixed him up, and left quick. He went to Baylor, fixed him up, and left quick. So who knows if he'll stay around? He says he likes Nebraska, but I mean, I think every coach is kind of practically required to say they like where they're at. I mean, that's common sense. So who knows if he'll actually stick around? But if we keep playing like that, then yeah, I would. I'd help pack his bags and bring his luggage out to the chauffeur to get him out of town if we keep playing like that.
Well, yeah, but you got to remember.
I think that was just
there's no chauffeur in Lincoln. They use a stagecoach in Lincoln. You know that. They're a little backwards there. I'll see you tonight. We'll watch the game tonight. Vikings Chargers. We'll see you at home. Thanks, Deuce.
Take care, Deuce.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks for having me, guys.
You bet. Tenebee, when do you head into the radio ranch to do your master control supervising duties?
Probably going to head your way in about an hour or so.
Oh.
So I might actually catch you there if you're still hanging out there late.
Yeah, it won't be real late, but I'll be out there. I got to do my liners with Diego, so I'm going to do a couple liners.
Do.
I will, indeed, I do. I occasionally forget, but I've been told I'm the only guy that's been doing them lately, and the only person that does new ones every single week. So
how about that?
I've got
you're
that
the one who does it consistently. You're the best at it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for saying that. That's not going to get me anything else here at the station, but that's fine. All right, Tenebee, thanks. And that's Spread Swing. We'll take a short break, come back with more. Yep, see you in a little bit. Rosie here for another half hour, and then he's got to skedaddle because he's got television duties with the Vikings pregame show, Vikings Game Day on Fox 9. Short break, come back with more here on the Common Man program on the Fan.